Hello, in this episode, I still want to tell you about basic layer properties. So it is still about position, rotation, and scales. But it will help you to make your motion sequences become better and easier. First, I want to tell you about the anchor point. So, what I need to do first that I make a composition, like I told you in the previous tutorial. So I just name it by anchor point test and set the duration to 10-second long and click OK. Now I have a composition but it's still blank, so I will make a text layer by clicking this horizontal type tool and click on the previous screen, and I just type test anchor point. So now I have a text layer, the test anchor point, test anchor point layer. Okay. And what is the anchor point? Anchor point is the center axis of your layer. You can see here. Yeah. This little circle right here is called anchor point. It's the center axis of your layer. So if you put this anchor point on the middle of the layers and you try to scale it, and the scale will goes right here like this. And if you move the anchor point to the corner and you want to scale it up, so it will scale up like here. Or if you want to change the rotation will goes like this. If you change the anchor point on the middle, the rotation will be like this. It same goes to the position. Okay, so the anchor point is the center axis of your layer. To move the anchor point, you need to use the pan behind anchor point tool in your toolbar. Just click here. Or for the shortcut, just press Y on your keyboard. And then you can click the anchor point and move around and place it wherever you want to be. For this case, I will place it around here. Okay. So I just want to make a animation by adding a keyframes. I just add the keyframes here and move forward 1 second away and then change the value. Okay. And then I move slide forward and then change the value again, and then I set back into the 0. So the layer will move like this. Okay. Maybe I will make it faster. Okay. And then you can always make your movement smoothly by changing the nature of your keyframes by right click by selecting your keyframes and then right click and then choose keyframe assistant. I usually use easy ease on my animation, so the movement will go more smoothly like this. Okay, so that's the basic understanding of anchor point. You can press Y on your keyboard and move your anchor point wherever you want. Like if you move it around here, so it will move like this. It's different, right? But if I move the anchor point right here, so it will move like this. Okay? And you can always copy your keyframes and paste it. And paste it again, and paste it again until the timeline ends. So now you have a loop of your layer. Okay. So after you know about the anchor point, then another basic stuff about layer properties are called parenting layer. What is parenting layer? This is when you want one of your layers to follow the movement of another layers. For example, this layer has already had movement. So we need to make another layer. Let's see, just name it another layer. Okay, and we scale it up. Okay, and we place just above the test anchor point layer. And then you want this layer, the another layer, to follow the movement of the test anchor point layer. So what you need to do is click this spiral icon right here and drag it into the test anchor point. Okay, so you just made the test anchor point become the parent of the another layers. So if you play the animation, you will see that the another layer has followed the test anchor point movement. Okay. Or maybe you want to add another text. You can duplicate it by press Command D on the layer, and you might want to change the position, and you make another layer again, and you just click the spiral icon and drag it into test anchor point. And this another layer again also follow the movement of the test anchor point. Okay. Yeah. So that's the basic understanding of parent and child layer. The layer that follow the movement of another layer is called the child layer. Child layer. And also the other layer here is called a child layer. And the layer that being followed by the another layer is called it's called the parent layer. So every layer that followed by another layer is called parent layer. Okay, so now you have a basic understanding about the anchor point and the parenting layer. So with this basic understanding, I will give an exercise to apply this understanding. As you can see here, this exercise shows that the layers that follow the movement of the other layers. And we will just make it. So the first thing that I need to do is import the clock exercise files that I made on Adobe Illustrator. So I just click the file and drag into my project bin. And choose composition and OK. So now I have a new composition from clock exercise file. Okay, it consists of this coin right here and the pole and the first pole and another layer. So first thing first, you need to make this minute needle and hour needle to be moved. So what you need to do is just click the layer and bring up the layer properties by pressing R. I just bring up the rotation properties of the layer and click the keyframe. And then move to end of your timeline and then change the rotation value of the layer. So the minute needle, maybe I add 10, and for the hour needle, maybe I just add a little bit slower, maybe 20. As you can see, the hour and the minute needle are rotating, but they're not rotating in the proper way. What you need to do is changing the anchor point by clicking the span behind tool and move this anchor point into the middle of the clock and also the hour needle. So, and then and then press the spacebar into your timeline. Okay. And now you can see that the needle are moving properly or rotating properly. Okay. So the next thing that you need to move is this pole right here. You need to make it move. So the first thing that you need to do is changing the anchor point and move it on the top of the layer and add the rotation on it. So press R on your keyboard and activate the keyframe and just move a little bit and move the pole maybe just this much back on the first keyframe and move this much, so it will go from the left and swing to the right. And to copy this swing movement, you just need to select your keyframes and copy it by press Command C and then paste it by press Command V, and you can do it all over again. Select the keyframe, copy it and paste it. Select the keyframes, copy it and paste it. Just do it all over and over again until the end of the composition. And now you have a swing movement of the pole 1 layers. And don't forget to make it more smoothly by selecting the layer and right click. Don't forget to make it more smoothly by selecting all the keyframes and right click on the keyframes and then choose keyframe assistant and choose easy ease. So you will see that your pole number 1 is moving more smoothly. Okay. And the next layer that need to move is this layer, the coin number 1. You need this layer to move. You need this coin number 1 layer to follow the movement of the pole number 1. So what you need to do is move along your cursor on the timeline and find the exact timing when the pole number 1 is slightly straight up, and then click the spiral icon on the coin number layer and parent it to the pole number 1. And as you can see, the coin number 1 layer follow the movement of the pole layer. Yeah. Okay. Okay. And the next thing that you need to move is the pole number 1 layer. So you want to copy the exact same movement like the pole number 1 here. So what you need to do is just copy all the keyframes on the pole number 1 layers, copy it, and then paste into the pole number 2 layer. And don't forget to change the anchor point. Okay? Okay, so now you have the pole number 2 layer have the same movement like the pole number 1 layer. And if you want to make the pole Number 2, follow the movement of the coin number 1. So you just need to repeat it, the technique again. Just click the pole number 2 layer and click the spiral icon and parent it to coin number 1 layer. Okay. So now you have the pole number 2, follow the movement of coin number 1 layer. Yeah. And the final stage is to move this coin number 2 layer. So just find the exact timing and then press the spiral icon in coin number 2 layer and parent it into the pawn number 2 layer. Okay, and as you can see, they are now moved together by using anchor point. By using the understanding of anchor point and parent and child layers. Okay. So maybe you can just go experiment for yourself by rotating all the stuff, or maybe you make some new design, your own clock design, and then you animate it as you want it to be. So that's end of my so that's the end of my second tutorial. I hope you can find something in my tutorial, and see you again next time.